G'day ladies and gentlemen, this is the video I promised that would happen. It's been a little bit delayed, shall we say, but here we have it, PC-BSD. Now I'm just going to change something before we get into the heat of things here. I'll just get my display settings. And just recently there was a bug in VirtualBox that wouldn't allow you to change any settings if you're running KDE under the default theme, but I'm just going to increase the amount of memory available to me here, and we're going to start it. Okay, now why would you want to run PC-BSD? Well, PC-BSD is essentially KDE, a special form of KDE on top of FreeBSD, along with a different way of managing packages. And you can see a similar menu to Lilo here, the PC-BSD menu there, and it's actually running a thing called BTX. Anyway, we'll get that to start. So the reason why you might want to learn about PC-BSD is it's an easy alternative to FreeBSD, which in turn, why would you want to learn about FreeBSD? Well, FreeBSD is it's a Unix-like system, and built off the original 386BSD code. Or I think was it 4.0 Lite or something like that? I can't remember the details, but anyway, the point is it was built off a light version of BSD. There was a bit of a licensing issue, a legal issue back in the day, and of course we know that the Linux kernel was eventually developed, and along with the GNU utilities added on top of the Linux kernel, enabled for an alternative operating system to FreeBSD, or BSD as it was known back then. But anyway, essentially we're just going to take a look at today. You can see it does some of the normal things that we'd expect out of GNU/Linux, such as starting your daemons and on boot. It's about to start Xorg in about a second or two, and it's going to start KDE, its special blend of KDE. You'll notice a few things are different if you run 4.5.4 as this does. Although the current version of by the way, this is a fully updated system, but the current version is, I think, 4.5.5 of KDE, soon to be 4.6, so you guys should be getting out there and testing that before it's released. Make sure you can help them with any bugs. I believe it's going to be released today, so it sort of sounds a bit superficial to say test it, but you never know, it might not be released today, so give it a go. Anyway, I'm just going to log in. You can see there's a nice boot screen. I should probably run in full screen mode while I'm at it. Switch to full screen. Nice. So just to make it a bit clearer, I know that we're not running at full reso, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a little bit slow to start up. I'm only running, I think, maybe 750 meg of RAM. Now that's getting a little bit old and archaic to run on that. Anything less than a gig these days is a bit old, isn't it? Just running the other day a copy of Mint on 512 or thereabouts, and it seemed a little bit slow, so yeah, probably start recommending to people if they run GNU/Linux or any other Unix-like systems, run at least on a gig. Unless of course you're just running pure command line or window manager or something like that, rather than a full-blown desktop environment. The thing about that, you can see here, we've got the high resolution here. You won't normally get that if you start BSD by default. You're going to need to go into ports, /user/ports/emulation/VirtualBox OSE guest additions, and you're going to need to add the X driver there by doing make and install. I'll give you the it's actually, I've got it here, I've got it listed here, /usr/ports/emulation/VirtualBox OSE additions. And you do this as a root, and you type make install followed by a reboot, and that permits high resolutions. Without that driver, you won't get the high resolutions that you want. It's looking a bit plain Jane there, but that's not the end of it. You'll get a nice desktop in a minute. Yeah, it's very nice, pretty. See, I've actually installed a couple of things on here. Java. As I can explain, Java doesn't work too well on here. Well, it works reasonably well, but there's a bit of a problem with running Zotero on top of this version of Java, which I believe is called Diablo. Anyway, as I said previously, we're running KDE 4.5.4, and yeah, essentially PC-BSD is FreeBSD with the recent version of KDE laid on top. Other desktop environments can be installed, but according to Wikipedia, you lose major functionality by doing so. It attempts to make a Unix-like OS easier to use than its parent OS, which is FreeBSD. We have here the ports jar, which is quite interesting. I'll just launch that here as an important feature of, and you can see that context menu. It's just a little bit different. Oh, we had a bit of a sound go on there, so I don't know if that came through or not. I haven't set it up to go through, so I don't think it would have, but we had a little bit of a boot up sound there. Anyway, you'll see here we've got this jail, and what you can do is you can make things and install things. You go cd slash users support slash emulation, and we could play around. Oh. Okay. And we can muck around. Oh, emulators. Yeah, fair enough. Not emulation, emulators, and we can of course go in, and we could make that. That's not here though. There's sort of a bit of a dodgy environment here. Not dodgy, I shouldn't say dodgy, but it's a bit of an environment that's lesser. It's for mucking around, basically learning about the port system, and it won't affect the rest of the system. So that's essentially what ports jail. It's a little bit of a free area for you to play around with, I guess you could say. So we'll get rid of that. You can see the wallpapers are very nice. You can actually go in here and go folder view settings. This might confuse some of you who are used to desktop settings. Go to folder view settings. And considering I'm not using folder view, it's very odd to call it folder view, isn't it? You can see it's called desktop settings here, so it's a little bit odd. You can have a whole bunch of nice Hubble wallpapers that you can use. My preferred one, of course, is that nice Earth one, which I've said normally it'll just what do they call it? I can't remember the correct name. It's like almost like a presentation, a slide screen, or something like that you might call it. Anyway, that's fine. There's also the handbook. Now we can where do we find the handbook? Oh, that's right, here we go, the user's handbook. That'll take us to, if we right click, open, I believe that'll run up Conqueror, yeah, and we'll see a few bits and pieces there. We're running into the wiki. The wiki can help you with a lot of things, seems quite useful. So I recommend that to be probably your first stop if you want to learn anything about it. It's a complete. By the way, I'm running the version 8.2, and they say it's frozen. 8.2 is actually in release candidate, I think, at the moment. Release candidate 2. So give it a go. See how it goes. Okay, we've got the web browser. Obviously, we just used Conqueror there, but I believe I installed Firefox on store. It gives you the option to actually install things on the first. When you're installing, you can install other things like Firefox is almost akin to OpenSUSE. How you can install different bits and pieces, extra bits and pieces, customize the system a little bit. What else we got to do is set the web browser. As I said, we can install Java JDK or Java runtime environment via the software manager. Now, the software manager is interesting in itself. It's a little bit different graphical. I don't think it doesn't seem to do anything with ports. Maybe it does. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to. So we've got to put our root password in there. Just wait for that for a second. Might take a little bit, so I'll just make sure that we're going fine here. Oh, it seems to be taking its fair merry time, doesn't it? Even though we're running in 750. We'll try and open that again. Very odd. I'll give it a sec, but if it doesn't do it soon, might have to give up on that one. Oh, I think we're going to have to give up on that. Move on to something more interesting. So, fail on that one. It's a bit of a fail, isn't it? So, I'll just try and get my little list of things up that I'm going to talk to you about. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Having major. Oh, here we go. Right. That's fine. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, now, so Java, it's got this Diablo version, but Diablo won't work properly in 3.6 or later. It doesn't have the proper plugin, and especially if you want to run something like Java. Now, I tried to install the older version of Firefox, managed to do that, and I've got a little link here to do that, to run it up, which will actually run up an older version of Firefox. I think we can do that just for a second. As you'll see, it won't be the version 3.6.x that you're used to, it'll be 3.5. But unfortunately, really 3.5 is starting to get a bit obsolete, so you wouldn't really want to be using that anyway. But fortunately enough, or unfortunately, the Diablo Java plugin sort of works with 3.5, but it won't work with, with a little pop up there, but it won't work properly with things like Zotero. Now, it's a shame that that software manager seems to be very, very stubborn and doesn't want to play the game. I'm going to try it again. Really such a shame. Oh, look. I don't know why that wouldn't be working. It's worked every single time before. See, and see, well, once again, there's Zotero's. Here we go. The software manager has decided to play the game. Well, I don't see that's the second. Seems to be saying it's the second one of it. But anyway, you can just go through and have a look and type something in search. You can see the installed one. I've got the Java JDK there, OpenOffice, Warden, VLC, Thunderbird, a few bits and pieces there. So you can see we've got 3.6.13 installed there at Firefox. If I just quit that, and you can go, I think you guys can go and have a look at that for yourself. But if you actually look here, I've of course installed version 3.5.16 through ports. You'll need to add your own little link to do that. So the next thing we probably look at, it's pretty standard. Well, it's not standard KDE. I can't say it's KDE because look at this context menu. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But I've done a couple of things. Lock the taskbar, which I usually do. But the other thing that's is interesting to find out is if we go into terminal. You expect you go into /user/bin, cd/user/bin. You got all these programs here, but the programs ones you're looking for are actually in programs. So all your programs there, like Firefox, Java, OpenOffice, Thunderbird, all of that stuff that we've installed, it's managed to find itself in /programs. Now, I probably should say something else about the software management side of things. They use a package management system that revolves around .pbi files, which is similar to executable or Microsoft installation files, in that you can just download one. But it seems to me that what's the point if these types of files aren't ubiquitous here? I guess the mind share behind it is that with Windows you can do exe files anywhere. Anyone can grab an exe file and download and install something, provided it's compatible with that version of Windows or whatever. But I don't see anyone downloading a whole bunch of .pbis from random places that people do on Windows. So, well, that's cute. I mean, it's like how you can use GDebi, or you used to be able to use GDebi. I don't know if you can do it still, but GDebi and Debian, and install some random Debian or .deb file that you've downloaded or whatnot. But yeah, it's just a graphical way that you might be able to do that. Anyway, other than that, I think we've got here, a fairly easy to use system, and the sound is because it's layered on top of KDE, or KDE is layered on top. It seems to be quite easy to use. I think update manager and all that sort of thing here. I think it's quite useful. Give it a try. If you're really keen on Java, maybe not. Use perhaps a GNU/Linux distribution. But other than that, I think it's worthwhile. Something. It's definitely a beautiful desktop, but it might not be for everyone. And well, there's certain things that you might have to do to get things running, like Flash. You might need to use the Linux compatibility layer. But other than that, it seems to be something if you want some very, very, very generic computing that you might do, or perhaps you want to run this thing up on a server. After all, it is FreeBSD. You could try that. Anyway, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and we're just going to quit now. The issues we have when we're producing. Anyway, guys, I like to keep it honest, so these are the little things, the little niggly things that we have. I would have liked it if my command line interface to FFmpeg would have stayed up. That's how I record, actually, guys. I use FFmpeg. Next video I'll probably do command line one. We're going to do something on IRSSI. Now, for those who are in the know about IRSSI, it's a great little program for connecting to IRC. The IRC, which is a protocol for chatting on channels and things like that. You might have gone to Freenode or something like that, or even Twill's channel or something like that. Really, these things are running on top of IRC. So we'll try that next time, guys. I hope you've enjoyed my little look into PC-BSD. If you want to try the real thing, well, I shouldn't say the real thing because it really is the real thing, but if you want to try FreeBSD, that's worthwhile trying. I've tried that. The thing about FreeBSD, you run GNOME on top of it, it uses very little RAM. I've noticed that on boot it'll use about 120 mega RAM, as opposed to a typical GNU/Linux distro, which will use about 160 to 180, which, mind you, is marginal on current systems, but on older systems it might matter, and it might matter to you. So give these things a try, see what you can do with them, and enjoy. Anyway, YouTubers, this has been another Ubiquitous 1980 production. Shameless plug there. Subscribe if you will. Don't just subscribe if you've seen me on the other channel, that is Caddy's Linux for You and Me channel. But, if you see me there around, and you like my work, just subscribe. Not that I'm making any money from this. Well, maybe I will one day. I'm not expecting. But anyway, catch you later, guys. Enjoy, and I will have that IRSSI video hopefully out by next Monday. Sorry for the delay on this one. But them's the breaks when you're a family man, with busy things to do, such as dealing with your unemployment. But that's another issue for another video, and on the wrong channel. Anyway, guys, see ya.